Good evening, Belize. Tonight, water everywhere. From the south to the heart of the country, torrential rains have triggered widespread flooding, cutting off highways, stranding drivers, and turning an ordinary day into a fight to get through rising waters. What began as routine coverage quickly became something much bigger, a country grappling with nature at full force. Also tonight, a legal showdown is looming. Former Ombudsman Gilbert Swazo is headed to court, accusing the government of weakening oversight by leaving the post vacant for months. But the Attorney General says there's no cause for concern and is standing firm on the government's position. And after months of waiting, a critical lifeline for domestic violence victims is finally taking shape. Specially trained justice of the peace are stepping in to grant emergency protection orders, offering help when the courts are closed and when victims need it the most. Plus, confusion over a key international program after the Prime Minister hinted at keeping it alive. The U.S. is now saying Belize has agreed to shut it down completely. We've got these stories and much more right now. This is News 5.
At Habet and Brothers Habet. Celebrate your super handy dad with gifts he'll actually use and enjoy super savings all June. Like 15% off all power tools and Stanley hand tools, 20% off Vento PVC windows, 20% off Ascot porcelain tiles and 30% off Piso Forte ceramic tiles, and 40% off Sunlight windows and doors. Plus, stop in at Brothers Habet every Saturday for our veranda clearance blowout. And for every $50 you spend, get a chance to win a power tool every Saturday. Visit Habet and Brothers Habet today and give Dad something worthy of his super handiness. Happy Father's Day to all super handy dads.
Every connection we make is more than just a signal. It's a student unlocking a future through digital education. A young mind daring to dream bigger. Our culture shared with the world in real time. And everyday heroes answering the call of civic duty. When we connect with Digi, we empower Belize.
Good evening. Welcome to News 5 Live for Thursday, June 11th. I'm Jamie Rock. Widespread flooding is tonight's top story after torrential overnight rains drenched communities across Belize from the south straight through to the central region. By morning, roads were cut off, homes surrounded, and in one dramatic moment, a bus was actually swept off the highway by fast-moving floodwaters. Meteorological data shows some areas saw intense rainfall in less than 24 hours, overwhelming drains and pushing rivers and creeks to dangerous levels, and there's little relief in sight. Forecasters say more rain is coming, with northern Belize now on alert for worsening conditions. Emergency officials are urging residents to stay prepared as crews monitor rising waters and the situation continues to unfold. We begin our coverage with a report from Paul Lopez.
The bus gone. Oh, man.
Residents in southern and central Belize woke up to chaos this morning. Flash floods turned roads into rivers, left major highways impassable, and in one shocking scene, a bus was swept clear off the roadway by rushing water.
Our automatic weather station network are reporting that the peak was at Middlesex. That's based on where we have stations. They recorded in excess of 8 inches of rainfall, and that's from 6 p.m. yesterday evening until the present moment. So that's a lot of rainfall in about less than 24 hours. Another notable location is Kendall, which recorded about 7 inches of rainfall. And then La Democracia, we had about over 4 inches, between 4 and 5 inches. So certainly heavy rainfall from what we will consider the central and northern parts of the country during the past 18 hours or so.
According to Chief Meteorologist Ronald Gordon, more rains are expected overnight.
We do expect another downpour tonight again into tomorrow morning early. And the areas that will be most impacted again will be central Belize, the same areas that were affected this morning, but especially with a focus to the north. So people up north need to begin preparing because we expect that the conditions will be there for over up to 4 to 6 inches of rainfall within the next 24 hours with potential for up to 8 inches.
With up to 8 inches of rain expected overnight in northern Belize, Principal Hydrologist Tennille Hendy is urging residents to stay alert and get prepared.
Looking at the new updates that we have, we see that area advancing to most of the country and aligning as well with Chief Met in terms of the precipitation moving into the north. We're also seeing very high potential for flooding in the north as well, mainly linked to what we often refer to as localized flooding. It's actually urban flooding associated with excessive rainfall. So quite literally, the entire country has to be on call from what we're seeing right now, especially for those in the central areas, as mentioned before, and on the south. Recall that we have these hills. When the rainfall hit those features within the environment, they tend to travel rather quickly down the slope and then into the lower lying areas.
Authorities at NEMA are now on full alert. National Emergency Coordinator Daniel Mendez says teams across the country are prepared to respond to calls for emergency assistance.
We have been monitoring, along with the Met Service and the Hydrology Service, the passage of the rainfall. So what we have been noticing is there have been a few incidents in the Stand Creek district. Our Stand Creek coordinators have been out there addressing and assisting in that regard. There is always a potential for further activation of the system, but at this point there has not been a need. But we will keep on monitoring, and as the information comes in, the rest of the country remains on alert. So all of our offices across the country are aware and have been making communication with the different components of the system. So if there is a need for us to activate the system, it will be done so quickly.
Chief Meteorologist Ronald Gordon confirmed that the rains are associated with Tropical Storm Christina, which has now dissipated in the eastern Pacific Ocean. Reporting from News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
What was supposed to be a simple assignment quickly turned into a first-hand look at a national emergency. News 5's Shane Williams headed south to cover the opening of a new building at the Stand Creek ITVET, but instead found himself navigating flooded highways, stalled traffic, and emergency evacuations. As rising waters cut off roads and stranded motorists, the story shifted from education to survival, with Mother Nature taking center stage.
The assignment sounded simple. Head to Stan Creek District for the official opening of a new ITVET facility, with Minister of State Dr. Louis Zabane delivering the keynote. But before sunrise, it was clear the day would take a very different turn. Just after 7 this morning, social media lit up with videos of vehicles stranded along the coastal road, swamped by overnight flooding. That's when plans quickly changed, prompting an earlier departure and a reroute along the longer Hummingbird Highway. Along the way, another urgent situation unfolded. Stan Creek West Area Representative Rodwell Ferguson took to social media issuing a call for help for a man identified as Augustine Cho, who was reportedly trapped in the Stan Creek Valley as floodwaters continued to rise. By the time we got to Belmopan, videos had emerged showing members of a Mennonite community being evacuated from flooded affected areas in the Stan Creek Valley. The story was already changing. After coming out of a long internet blackout along the Hummingbird Highway near Hope Creek, we received word that the ITVET opening had been called off due to weather conditions, and just a mile up, another obstacle was waiting. We are here at mile 7 on the Hummingbird Highway, where this road has been closed. Police is preventing any small vehicles from passing. This is a once-in-a-lifetime flooding. According to Minister Zabane, who has lived in this area all his life, he has only seen this road flooded like this twice in his lifetime. Standing roadside was Dr. Louis Zabane, the keynote speaker we had traveled nearly 3 hours to interview at the now postponed ITVET ceremony. Instead of greeting him at a podium, we found him standing with stranded commuters watching the floodwaters rise.
The water has receded a little bit since then. With the police, we're grateful to them. They've been out here stopping the traffic on that side. So only the big trucks, high pickups were able to pass earlier. What just occurred there, you see, is a bus that just the driver in the bus, and apparently he got a little too close to the side, and you see the back of the bus has gone off on the side, no? And the water seems to push it off on the side, but thank God they're okay. So we're holding off the traffic, and it's only the bigger vehicles that can pass.
With no way forward, we turned back toward Belize City, but not before stopping in the Mountain View Mennonite community in the Stan Creek Valley, where residents were already wading through the aftermath and taking stock of the flooding's impact.
Last night it rained and rained and rained, and we were kind of wondering what will happen. So and then the water, we saw the water rises very quick, and we were trying to taking care of our stuff. So after all, they came with a motorboat and rescue us on the other side.
On our way back, we met Stan Creek West Area Representative Rodwell Ferguson, who was moving from village to village assessing conditions and checking on residents affected by the flooding. He also provided an update on Augustine Cho.
They had a need for a boat to go across the river to assist some people. So he told me he's going to get the Chinaman in Pomona, who was a boat, to go across and bring him across. There was one gentleman, Mr. Augustine Cho, who had a farm across the river, and he was there last night nursing some young pigs. And so he decided to sleep at his camp. And so a friend of him called me likewise after and said he needed to be rescued. So right away I put it on Facebook to let the village know that this gentleman is across there by himself. I was told when he got rescued, he was up in a tree, but he made sure he saved his 3 pigs. So that was very good of him to make sure he secure his animal. But the beauty of Stan Creek Valley, the flood only processes as the rain processes. Once the rain stops, the water disappears immediately.
By then, reports suggested water levels along the coastal road had dropped significantly, even with debris scattered across sections, damaged pavement, and a road closed sign at the Gales Point Junction. The route looked manageable once again. For a moment, it felt like the journey was finally winding down. Then we reached mile 16, where floodwater stretched nearly 2 feet deep across the road. A brief attempt was made to cross, but it didn't take long to realize that nature was winning this battle. Retreating through the Hummingbird Highway was the only option. A routine assignment to cover a ribbon cutting quickly turned into something far more serious. A first-hand look at the real challenges communities across the country are now facing as flooding takes its toll. And yes, we actually made it all the way to the Stan Creek IT VET. Shane Williams reporting for News 5.
Today's flood across the Hummingbird Highway brought traffic to a standstill, forcing motorists and commuters to put their plans on hold. Among those caught in the standstill were teachers trying to reach their classrooms, students on their way to school, and families and visitors eager to get moving again. But as the water held its ground, so did they, waiting, watching, and adjusting plans on the fly. It was a moment that reminded everyone stuck there that when nature takes over, there's not much you can do but pause and be patient. We spoke with several of those stranded who shared how the sudden delay disrupted their day.
This is unprecedented. I'm from here in the valley. This has probably just happened maybe twice that I am aware of. Probably in the late 70s and then again in the mid 80s. And now again. So when that happens, people know already that they're in a low-lying area. Please move out immediately because this water is coming down there for sure.
For right now, we wait for my son. He's up on the other side, coming from school, and we don't know what will be the outcome. How long the water will stay at this height, no? So that's the reason why we wait over up on this side. But at the same time, we worry too because the water the raise over up on the next side too. So we wonder if we are get trapped this side here.
Try reach school right now if we go get up now in school picking them, but can't pass now due to the condition there, so you sadly wait out and see what happens because can't stop it.
Never see something like this, man.
Well, right so I never see a hotel like this, first time I see a hotel like this, so I respect everything because the Almighty, he don't want to when he do things. Yeah, so just have to be cautious on the road out there. Because I know I said all over the country, but all right now. Yeah.
You ever see something like this, man?
Never yet, brother. Never in life. Never. How I tell everybody just know that never see something like this before.
Where they head?
Riga.
And how long are they out there to wait?
About half an hour. Actually, I'm there at work. And I decided to send me home, no? Yes,
because of the weather?
Yeah, because of the weather.
How long are they out there?
About 4 to 5 minutes or so.
And how do you handle it?
Well, I got no choice, but I have to wait, right? The road flooded, so I got no choice, just got to wait.
Where do you head?
I'm actually going to Hopkins, so I have no choice. Like I said, I have to wait, you know?
Never see something like this, man?
No, first time. So, yeah.
Anything you want to say to the family?
I'll be at home as soon as I could, you know, when the rain slow down.
We've been here an hour now, and so we're waiting an update from NEMA. The last update, they said that we're going to wait for the water to recede. If we choose to go and go across the water, it's on our own risk, and I believe that safety is our priority, and so we're staying and sticking out here together.
What was the plan for classes today?
For today, we had normal classes today, and we were also preparing for parents' evening tomorrow for our Standard 6, and so that has been disrupted, and so we'll have to, go back to the drawing table. At the end of the day, we're worried about our safety first. Being out here, we don't know how long we'll be here, so our safety first is our priority.
But I just want my message to the residents is to be on the alert, because based on the weather report, that this should come back again tonight. And now because the oil is saturated, then it might be more dangerous, so we must be awake and be prepared should in case it comes back tonight.
Floodwaters continue to affect the commute across southern and central Belize tonight, forcing closures, detours, and a lot of patience on the road. The Coastal Plain Highway is still underwater and off limits for now, though officials say it could reopen later this evening. Meanwhile, Mile 7 on the Hummingbird Highway is back in use after earlier disruptions. Even where roads remain open, the drive is far from routine. Authorities are urging motorists to slow down down and stay alert, especially along the Mountain View Access Road, the Canada Hill Junction in Hope Creek, and near the Kendall Bridge on the Thomas Vincent Ramos Highway. So, how bad are conditions really, and what should drivers expect heading into the night? We spoke with Chief Engineer Evandale Moody, who's been monitoring the situation closely. Here's his latest update on the flood-hit road network.
Understand that there's also flooding between mile 3 and 4 on the Hummingbird Highway near Sarawi Village. That water is being monitored as well because it's increasing as the days go by. However, we're trying to monitor all those areas. We've also had intense flooding near mile 16 on the Coastal Plain Highway, which is nearer to the Soldier Creek Bridge. That is the area that has shown some erosion that has occurred on the pavement itself. As you may recall, we had done some work there about 2 years ago, where within that same vicinity, we had scoring as well that occurred. And it seems as though based on the intensity and the amount of rainfall that we had over the last 24 hours, that exceeded the rainfall that we had at that point in time. Reason being is that when we did those repairs 2 years ago, we raised the elevation of the road going into Soldier Creek Bridge, and we also concreted that area. The original area that was scored was approximately 150 meters, and so we did an additional 50 meters to that existing pavement, and so that area is concreted. And the area that has now scored is beyond that 200 meters. So it seems as though from our investigation that the intensity has definitely increased, and the amount and volume of water that has passed through that area was even more far intense than what happened 2 years ago.
Motorists are advised to not attempt to drive through flooded roadways. After the break, SIF hits back. The Social Investment Fund is calling out what it says are false claims about how contracts are awarded and warning of the damage they could cause. Stay with us.
They're not just cigarette, vape, hookah, cigar, and all kind of tobacco product, Lego, dangerous smoke, and toxic chemical. When you smoke or vape, that cloud then not disappear. It turn into second-hand smoke and third-hand smoke where people wrong your breathing. That kind of smoke that could cause cancer, diabetes, lungs disease, and heart problems. It could kill anybody who get exposed to it. If you smoke or vape, go outside, far from people. Everybody deserves to breathe clean air.
The biggest soccer season is here. Are you ready to experience the front row from home? Experience stadium level immersion with Samsung's latest technology. Perfect for every room. Your favorite Crystal UHD and QLED smart TVs are ready for you. Now at the best price. From your 32-inch personal fan zone at just $369 to the massive 85-inch home stadium experience for only $2,579. We have the perfect upgrade for every fan. Get yours with confidence at Cellular World, the authorized distributor in Belize, and receive a 1-year warranty. Visit us today and take advantage of these promotions. Valid until June 15th. Upgrade to the front row at home. Experience with Samsung and Cellular World.
We have exciting news for you. RFNG Life Insurance is now officially in your town. Now, you can visit our office to pay your life insurance premiums or speak to our dedicated agent, Mayeli, about securing your future with the right coverage.
Hi, my name is Mayeli Hoy, your designated agent here at RFNG Life in the Kaya District. I'm here to help you explore your options, answer your questions, and find the perfect policy for you and your loved ones.
Whether you're looking for life insurance, critical illness coverage, or future saving plans, we've got you covered. Take the first step towards securing a stable and prosperous financial future for you and your family. RFNG Life Insurance, now in Cayo. Visit us today or call to schedule an appointment. Your future starts here.
The Belize Social Investment Fund is pushing back tonight against what it calls misleading and unsubstantiated claims circulating online about how it awards contracts. In a strongly worded statement released today, SIF flatly rejected accusations of favoritism and improper influence, warning that the allegations could undermine public trust and confidence among its partners and beneficiaries. The fund says its reputation and the integrity of its work is on the line. SIF manages major development projects across the country, insists its procurement process is tightly controlled and built on transparency. According to the agency, contracts, especially those above certain thresholds, are awarded through open, competitive bidding, with companies evaluated on clear technical, financial, and legal criteria. The fund also highlights multiple layers of oversight, from independent evaluation committees to external audits and monitoring by international development partners. Those safeguards, SIF says, are designed specifically to prevent the kind of misconduct now being alleged. While the claims continue to circulate, SIF maintains that its process is fair, accountable, and rooted in value for money, not favoritism. A legal showdown is brewing over who's really protecting the public's interest and who isn't. Former Ombudsman Gilbert Swaza is taking the government to court, accusing it of weakening oversight by leaving the post vacant for 6 months. At the heart of the issue is independence, because without its own legal team or budget, the Ombudsman's office must rely on the Attorney General, even in cases where the government itself is under scrutiny. Swaza warns that leaves the office stuck in limbo whenever its decisions are challenged. But Attorney General Anthony Sylvester disagrees, maintaining there is no problem with the current setup and offering his explanation for the prolonged vacancy.
The Office of the Ombudsman is independent of government, so it makes requests for whatever expenditure, whether it be for additional staff and whatever needs, and so a request for an independent counsel that would be made through the clerk's office, because the Ombudsman is the parliamentary officer. So what should happen is that request should be made through the clerk of the National Assembly's office, and in turn that would be transmitted to the financial secretary. But as I had explained, I see no difficulty, no reason, and no issue why the office should not have independent counsel.
Do you know, though, if an independent counsel has actually already been retained, because filings have started already?
I have no idea. I mean, we're separate. We're not to be notified. What the matter does come up in court, and so at that point in time, I do believe that issue should be addressed. No.
You don't know the dates, like when next?
I think it's next week, if I'm not mistaken. As explained by the Honorable Prime Minister, the office still exists. You still have all the different officers of the office, and those functions still can be addressed. And so there is really, and first let me say this, the delay, which is regrettable in terms of the appointment of the Ombudsman, it is not something that certainly we wanted. It's as a result of the process that now follows, incorporating a National Human Rights Institute in the Office of the Ombudsman. So, as you well know, the Office of the Ombudsman already has a large number of functions in addressing citizens' complaints with respect to maladministration and so on and so forth. The proposed creation and establishment of a National Human Rights Institute is one which would further extend the functions and responsibilities of the Ombudsman Office.
The Attorney General says the Ombudsman operates independently and must request its own funding. If legal help is needed, the office has to go through the National Assembly, routing the request from the clerk to the Financial Secretary because it's a parliamentary body, not a government department. Are government reform efforts strengthening oversight or weakening it in the meantime? That's the question now at the center of a growing debate over the long vacant Ombudsman office. Attorney General Anthony Sylvester says the delay is intentional, tied to plans to transform the office into a national human rights institution, a move that requires changes to how the role is structured and who can fill it. But critics say the absence of an ombudsman, even in an acting capacity, is leaving the office without independent legal muscle and slowing key investigations. While Sylvester insists progress is happening behind closed doors, concerns are mounting that accountability is taking a hit in the process.
There is a working team that has been established, which includes both private sector, social partners, and persons from the Ministry of some various government ministries. My understanding is that they meet Monday to continue that process in terms of trying to formalize how do we do this. Because what will necessarily follow from this is that the qualification of the Ombudsman may need to change. So these are things which regrettably and unfortunately have delayed the process. But what I can say is that we're moving as fast and as quickly as possible. Obviously not to the satisfaction, understandably so, of persons who are concerned, but I can say unquestionably that we are moving and that we seek to address this issue as soon as possible. But there are issues which are outside the scope and the determination of the government at this point in time. The functions and additional duties of the Ombudsman, if a National Human Rights Institute is to be incorporated, will be extremely, it will be more than double of the work what currently exists.
So you
that
have a core, you have a core person who heads the institute under the Ombudsman.
Allow me to finish. So that is a suggestion that certainly can be taken on board, but the point is that in terms of how the office will proceed moving forward, that is a determination that is being made not by government, but as I explained to you, a number of persons, including civil society, because there is nothing to be gained by moving fast, establishing an office, passing legislation with what is thought to be or is hoped to be something that will work, and it can't work. So respectfully, Marisol, I would have to disagree with you.
The government says people can still file complaints, but critics question how far those cases can go without an ombudsman in charge. After more than a decade in the works, Belize's occupational safety and health bill is stuck in the Senate. Senators are pushing back, warning that the legislation still has serious flaws and contradictions that need fixing before it becomes law. But the delay has sparked concern. Some say every setback leaves workers exposed to the on-the-job risks with no modern protections in place. Social partners, however, insist it's better to get it right than rush through it. So what's really holding things up? And how long will workers have to wait? We put those questions to Attorney General Anthony Sylvester, who explains the thinking behind the holdup.
As the government legal advisor, I can only advance what has been put forward by the government is that we're not saying that domestic workers that should not be afforded protection, but given the regime that would be created under the OSH bill, it poses some difficulties. So, for instance, you, Marisol, if you engage a domestic worker, then you would be subject to the same level of scrutiny and the same level of responsibility as anyone, including a prominent business establishment. And the reality is that it may be difficult for someone to be able to an ordinary person who hires a domestic to be able to do that. So those are things. So that's a policy rationale why the government, and it's not based solely on the government's own decision making. This is a considered approach, a considered position rather, taken after much deliberation. Remember, the OSH bill has been in consideration for over 14 years. So what I would say is that to me a sensible approach should be perhaps maybe the bill is passed, look at what needs to be tweaked after the bill is passed. There is no harm in the bill being passed in its present form, and then after say maybe a 6 months period, there is a review and you go back to government and say, look, we look at the past 6 months and we see that there is there is overwhelming evidence that this needs to be inserted or X needs to be added to the bill. In my view, that would be a sensible approach.
The bill passed the House in February, but just weeks later it hit a major snag in the Senate, where disagreements over key provisions remain unresolved. The race for City Hall is heating up, and it's no longer a one-man show. What once looked like a clear path for Deputy Mayor Eliud Miller has quickly turned into a competitive showdown as veteran councillor Alan Pollard jumps into the mix. Miller enters with strong backing from inside the PUP and City Council, positioning himself as the establishment's favorite. But Pollard is bringing a different kind of momentum, grassroots support, and name recognition that could shake things up. With today marking the deadline for nominations, the field could still shift, and insiders are watching closely for any late entries or surprises. One thing certain, the battle for the PUP's mayoral pick just got a lot more interesting. Up next, green light or green light for conflict. A bush stick dispute in England Creek is heating up after one resident says he had full approval to harvest, but not everyone's on board.
Insurance fact. Did you know with Home Protector Insurance, construction projects can receive insurance coverage from start to finish? We offer a variety of bonds. This includes bid bonds, advance payment bond, performance bonds, or others. Let Home Protector be a part of your team and help safeguard you through your next project. Visit any Home Protector Insurance office near you to learn more.
Benny's is kicking off Father's Day with popping deals for dad in the month of June. Visit a Benny's near you and get store-wide discounts on selected items such as Milwaukee and Axie power tools, Charbroil barbecue grills, car care products, Karcher pressure washers, and much, much more. Make dad happy with popping deals for dad in June, only at Benny's.
Benny's, Benny's, oh, Benny's, Benny's.
Over the past 5 years, Digi has invested more than $17 million to revolutionize Belize's digital future. Our advanced 4G LTE network and expanded fiber infrastructure have empowered vital road arteries, connected the farthest valleys and fertile farmlands, linked the bustling cities to the remote keys, and brought cutting-edge connectivity to schools, businesses, healthcare centers, and tourist destinations, fueling economic growth, enhancing education, and strengthening communities across the nation. By choosing Digi, you're leading Belize's digital transformation, bridging distances, opening opportunities, and empowering every corner of our beautiful country. Connect with Digi. Empower Belize.
Let's all be safe during the rainy season. Belize Electricity Limited reminds you that heavy rains can cause flooding in your neighborhood and on roads. Avoid driving or walking in flooded areas, which can have hidden dangers such as debris and fallen power lines. Belize Electricity Limited cares about your safety. Please stay safe.
In business, timing matters. Now, with Belize Bank's same-day settlement, transactions settled before 4 p.m. are deposited the very same night.
It's been a game changer for our cash flow. Waiting days to access our sales used to slow our business down. Now we could restock faster and pay our suppliers on time.
And with all the settlement, it's done for you every day. Same-day settlement from Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
The biggest football event in the world is finally here, and Smart is giving you the chance to play and win. Before every match starts, predict who will win. The more predictions you make, the more chances you have to win. Get 1 point towards your total when you guess the winning team. Predict the exact score and earn up to 4 points. The top scorer at the conclusion of the World Cup wins the grand prize of $2,500 in cash. That's not all. Players get a chance to win weekly prizes. Plus, our quarter-final winner gets a watch party package. Play directly in the Smart app for just 50 cents per entry. Prediction starts June 1st to July 18, 2026. Don't just watch the World Cup. Play along and win with Smart. Smart, bringing people together.
The next station is not just a place. It's the vacation capital of the world, Mexican Caribbean. Do you know why we are the capital of vacations? Because no other place on earth brings together so many ways to vacation in one single destination. Every vacation imaginable. Mexican Caribbean, the vacation capital.
On Wednesday night, we brought you the story of a growing legal battle involving the Dangriga Town Council. Tonight, that story deepens. Former town administrator Austin Petillo is now officially taking the council to court, claiming his sudden dismissal was not only unjustified, but also a breach of contract. Petillo says he was entitled to remain in the post until April 2027. Today we spoke with his attorney, Orson Elrington, who is laying out how they expect this legal fight to unfold and what it could mean for both sides.
Mr. Petillo was hired by the Dangriga Town Council as the town administrator. And Mr. Petillo had been living in the United States at the time, and they recruited him for his professional services. Sometime shortly thereafter, while he came, he signed the contract, fixed-term contract, and he started to implement the procedures according to the procedures that govern the town councils. And regrettably, he met some political interference when he tried to ensure that the rules were being complied with. And then thereafter, as a result of that, he was constructively dismissed, and then thereafter sent a letter terminating his employment. It is my understanding from Mr. Petillo that he, for some time, obviously this was some time ago, he has been in discussions with them. He has tried to resolve the matter without the intervention of an attorney and without the intervention of the court, without any meaningful resolution. And so now, as a last resort, he has started the process of a lawsuit against the Tong Council, the Tangriga Tong Council. Of course, as you would know, the first step in any litigation in Belize is for a pre-litigation letter to be sent. That has been sent and received by the Tangriga Tong Council, and we are waiting on a response.
Elrington says the Tangriga Town Council is already consulting its attorneys on its next move. A multi-million-dollar court ruling is raising new questions about how land rights are handled in Belize and what it could cost taxpayers down the line. After the Court of Appeal upheld a judgment awarding over $6 million to the Maya village of Halakte, the Attorney General is now sounding the alarm. Anthony Sylvester warns the decision could blur the lines between private property and communal land rights, potentially creating two different systems for compensation. And with areas like Toledo already facing overlapping claims, the concern is that this landmark case could open the door to even more costly disputes.
So the concern of the government is this, and as I explained, you will see why this is very necessary for us to at least have and know if this will be the case moving forward, that would be the state of the law. So there are aspects of that decision which the court made an award with respect to deprivation of land. In this case, it was in respect to communal land. And the court crafted and its assessment of compensation for land using a metric which is not used when determining and when assessing compensation for other land, for private land. So the concern is that what you will have, and what we fear, is that you will have two regimes for compensation of land in the country. One for private land, which is non-communal, and one which is for communal, and that has the potential to create some issues, particularly where in the Toledo district you have some third-party interest private land which may potentially be subsumed or be considered communal land. So it has some serious implications, financial implications, and so the government sees it fit, and there's wisdom in approaching the highest court, the apex court, and say, look, this is the position. Two regimes with respect to compensation for land now seems to be the state of law in the country. Tell us, is this the case, or is this not the case? That certainly would be extremely helpful and beneficial to all, no?
The challenge would be in relation to the quantum, correct? Because you
Yes.
admit that it was unlawfully acquired.
Well, there is still there was an issue. We did raise the issue that yes, obviously it was being utilized, but the issue that was raised, the court ruled against us in respect to that was whether that era would in fact actually form part of communal land, particularly since there has not been any formal establishment of boundaries. So those are things as well that we would ask the court to look at.
Following the ruling, Prime Minister John Briceño said he respects the judiciary but is disappointed with the Court of Appeal's ruling in the Halakte Maya land rights case, stressing concern over the heavy financial burden it places on the government and taxpayers. A dispute over bush sticks has sparked rising tensions inside Indian Creek Village. At the center of it all is a resident who says he got the green light from both a private landowner and the forestry department to harvest the material. But when he tried to move the bush sticks to his property, he was met with opposition from other villagers, bringing operations to a halt. Now, what should have been a straightforward process has exposed deeper divisions within the community. Village Chairman Domingo Chuck explains how the situation unfolded and why it's become such a flashpoint.
This is not a
village, Miss Christina. You know that.
Listen to what you want to say.
This is not your village. This is not your village, Miss Christina.
We don't need nothing.
We don't need nothing from you.
The most recent incident involved a resident who had secured all necessary permits from the forestry department. He hired me to transport his bush stick for use in constructing his house. Despite processing a valid permit, the alcalde attempted to confiscate the material, claiming that the forestry department permit was not valid. It was also surprising the MLA spokesperson was present and appeared to support that position yesterday. As a result, I was prevented from leaving the area for approximately 2 hours. Eventually, the spokesperson informed me that they will allow that resident to take the house rafter and continue building his house. This situation escalated because they attempted to confiscate material that had been legally obtained under a valid forestry department permit.
MLA spokesperson Christina Koch will provide News 5 with her perspective on the matter on Friday. There's growing pressure over Belize's long-delayed redistricting process, and now the lines of responsibility are being drawn. Attorney General Anthony Sylvester says the government isn't calling the shots here, insisting the Elections and Boundaries Commission holds the constitutional power to redraw electoral maps and propose any changes. But as that process stalls, concerns are building. Activist Jeremy Enriquez is now pushing for answers, filing a Freedom of Information request and warning that uneven voter numbers across constituencies are undermining fairness at the polls.
I know the claim for Mr. Enriquez is the one which is foremost in our mind of late, but I need to point out that there was a claim previously brought by Parker Smith and the Belize Peace Movement. That matter essentially does Mr. Enriquez seeks to do the same thing that they did. And in fact, actually, what had happened is that there was a consent order that was agreed with the government in that Parker Smith matter, where it was agreed that we'd proceed to do a redistricting. Prime Minister, the government has indicated that we will be proceeding to do a redistricting. Now, care or caution must be had here because the Election and Boundaries Commission, which is the constitutional body which has the authority to address the issue of redistricting, they're the ones who do that. That's separate from the government. So the government can only signal its intention, but ultimately the commission would have to be the body that actually carries that or gives life to that. With respect to a request, if the request is one that would have been made, I haven't seen any the request being addressed to the Attorney General or to the government. If it were one that was made to the Elections and Boundaries Commission, I would not be able to speak to that. That would probably have to be addressed by Elections and Boundaries Commission.
I know you had mentioned previously that in terms of any potential amendments to the Constitution arising from the redistricting, it's been outsourced. But I imagine that once those recommendations are made to the EBC, it has to come to your office because it's you who's going to execute.
So ultimately, what would happen is that the Elections and Boundaries Commission would ultimately have to sit, consider, and make a determination, okay, and then submit to the government to say, look, we think that perhaps maybe this constitutional amendment or that constitutional amendment should be made. And obviously, the government will have to consider that, and then moving from there, instructions would be given to the Attorney General's Ministry to proceed.
The government had originally pledged to complete the redistricting exercise by the end of 2025, but repeated delays have slowed its progress. Coming up, after months of delay, a long-promised lifeline for domestic violence victims is finally taking shape. Specially trained justices are stepping in to deliver urgent protection when courts are closed.
Member owners of St. John's Credit Union Limited, mark your calendars.
Join us for the 80th Annual General Meeting on Saturday, June 13, 2026 from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's all happening at St. Catherine Academy's Mercy Center Auditorium on Marine Parade Boulevard, Belize City. Your voice matters. Come take part in the discussion on our transformation member plans. Registration starts at 8 a.m. Come out, cast your vote, and help shape your credit union's future. Plus, get ready to win prizes throughout the event. For 80 years, St. John's Credit Union has stood with its member owners. Now, we look ahead to the next chapter. Together, you're more than a number. You're a member owner. St. John's Credit Union Limited. Safe saving, smart borrowing.
My name is Dr. Rosita Jimenez, and I'm a general laparoscopic surgeon. We have just finished an emergency appendectomy, and we're now moving on to our second operating theater for our laparoscopic gallbladder staining. Basically, this is very easy to diagnose. Simple abdominal ultrasound or a pan-abdominal ultrasound can give us the diagnosis. Laparoscopic gallbladder removal surgeries, 90 to 80% of the time, are done due to gallstones. However, there are other conditions like tumors, malfunctioning of the gallbladder that also are reasons to get a laparoscopic surgery. We also have an amazing CT scan and X-ray unit who work hand in hand with our doctors. Instruments used in laparoscopic surgery are chokers like these. It makes it easy for us to do the surgery through these entry ports. The recovery process is excellent. You can basically, within a week, you are back up, ready to do your job, your daily life activity, like if you hadn't had this surgery.
In Belize, change is taking shape every day. It all starts with Game Changers. Investing in modern transport, better health infrastructure, renewable power for all, digital transformation, and more opportunities for a brighter future, the European Union's Global Gateway Initiative is unlocking new potential. Game Changers are bringing this to life. Game Changers, empowering the future. Follow the EU in Belize to meet the Game Changers.
Ever had your card declined? Now it doesn't have to be. Introducing partial authorization. If the card doesn't cover the full amount, it notifies you what's available. You can accept the partial payment and pay the missing balance with a credit card or cash. No decline. Get what you came for. Partial authorization now available. Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
Belize wakes up connected to opportunity. And across our country, the work to keep Belize connected continues. SMART continues expanding our network across the country, bringing stronger coverage to more communities. With recent service enhancements in areas at Blue Creek and Progreso, Belize City, Orange Walk, and more on the way. We're bringing education closer to home, empowering entrepreneurs to grow their businesses, supporting industries that drive our economy, and keeping families connected wherever life takes them. With every expansion, we are investing in the infrastructure that moves Belize forward. Because connection isn't just about signal, it's about opportunity, progress, and the future we are building together. SMART, bringing people together.
I've always been fascinated with gemstones. It's
all about taking nature's beauty and creating something uniquely beautiful. I've had inspiration from the Belize Blue Bull, the beaches, the Jaguar. I've launched a new product called Co-Design with Deb, and Atlantic Bank's e-commerce system has opened the door to my international customers so I can receive payments so they can have their custom pieces shipped to them.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
The next station is not just a place, it's the vacation capital of the world, Mexican Caribbean. Do you know why we are the capital of vacations? Because no other place on earth brings together so many ways to vacation in one single destination. Every vacation imaginable. Mexican Caribbean, the vacation capital.
Tonight, a long-promised step towards protecting victims of domestic violence is finally becoming a reality. After months of delay, senior justices of the peace are now being trained to issue emergency protection orders, giving victims critical, immediate support when the courts are closed. This new power, introduced through legislation passed late last year, allows qualified JPs to grant 72-hour safeguards in urgent situations. But getting here hasn't been easy. Out of the nearly 3,000 JPs nationwide, only a small group met the strict requirements to take on the role. Now, 6 months later, 30 have stepped forward, ready to make a difference and help keep Belizeans safe when it matters most. News 5's Brittany Gordon has the story.
After the horrific killing of Angelita Magana and her 2 children in October 2025, the government fast-tracked new measures to protect domestic abuse victims, especially when the courts are closed. Magana was killed when her ex-partner, Francisco Godoy, set their home on fire, and many believe quicker access to a protection order could have saved their lives. Now that safeguard is finally taking shape, 30 justices of the peace have been trained to issue emergency protection orders, offering victims immediate help when they need it most. JP Association President Adrian Danny Madrid says this move could be a game changer for Belizeans in danger.
Many times violence against a person is done mostly on weekends and holidays, where the judiciary system, the magistrate courts are closed and they have nowhere to go. So we had intensive meetings where we will receive the complaints, because we have to worry about safety of the senior JPs too. So we decided and we finalized that we'll do it at every police station, even in the villages. We go to the police station where there's a police presence, so we have to have that protection, because some JPs did not want to do it because they are afraid of their own self. Violence against them. So we're hoping that they don't have to use us, but we want to know, and we want the public to know that you could feel safer.
Madrid explained the rollout was delayed as they struggled to find JPs that met the requirements. Applicants must have 5 years service as senior officers, a title which requires a decade of experience alone. Additionally, JPs were to have a clean police record. Attorney General Anthony Sylvester explained how the process will work.
Let's say, for instance, it's a Friday evening. You're able to get one of these ex parte interim protection order. What would happen is that, which is why there has to be coordination with the police department and the courts, and as well as the human development. What will happen is that the interim order that is made on the weekend will then be submitted to the court. So on Monday morning, the matter would be assigned to a magistrate who will then review and make a determination as it relates to, okay, when would you have what you call the inter partes, both parties appear before the court and the further proceedings take place. So it is an interim mechanism, but a very, very important and critical interim mechanisms which experience has shown can save lives.
Officials also raised concerns about how often victims withdraw complaints against their abusers, causing further delays in the justice process. Minister of Human Development says despite the challenges, Belize must continue to offer support for victims.
On average, it takes a person, a survivor, 8 times
trying to leave a difficult situation before they finally make it. A lot of people don't make it out alive. So what would I say? I would say keep trying. Keep trying. If it takes you 20 times before you break out of a situation, then we keep trying 20 times with you. Of course, it might be a lot of paperwork for the person on the other end taking the reports, but that's their job.
Justices of the peace can't charge for their services, so protection orders are free for victims. Still, the government is offering up to $100 to cover travel and other basic expenses as JPs carry out the work. Brittany Gordon for News 5.
Attorney General Anthony Sylvester is pushing back against claims that Belize's cybercrime law is being weaponized against political opponents, saying challenges to the legislation will be addressed formally in court. His comments come amid a political firestorm over the arrest of former UDP chairman Alberto August, who was detained after Home Affairs Minister Oscar Mira filed a police report under the cyberbullying provisions. Prime Minister John Briceño has defended the move, insisting it was not made to silence criticism, but to protect individuals from harmful online attacks, while also accusing August of exploiting a grieving family for political gain.
That there's certain restraint an Attorney General must make in terms of his comment, his or her comment, given that he is she is the legal advisor of the government. So I will not comment any further, but to say that I've heard that there may be a challenge to the cybercrimes law, and so we'll address those when they are formally served on us.
Attorney General Anthony Sylvester refrained from commenting further on the matter. Human Development Minister Tea Ramirez Garcia has condemned the actions captured in a viral video from the Russell Garcia Auditorium, calling it an unnecessary act of violence. The video, which circulated online earlier this week, shows Brian Suazo in a confrontation with a teenage basketball player, putting the National Sports Council under pressure. Officials say an investigation is underway to determine whether Suazo violated the council's strict non-confrontation policy, as questions mount over access control and management at the facility.
Working with teenagers and working with young people is certainly stressful. Teenagers are subject to a lot of things that in my age and time as a teenager they weren't subject to, including being recorded, including, it's very different than 30 years ago, 40 years ago. I still can't believe, like I said, that people, instead of coming forward and say, hey, that we don't do that, would sit there quietly and record whatever was happening and not step in to help and not step in to part whatever that was happening. I am sure that the officials at the Sports Council will take immediate, cards in the situation, because that certainly, you don't put your hands on anybody. That's certainly assault in my book.
National Sports Council Director Jason Menzies responded to the video, noting his concerns about the incident and stressed the council is gathering reports and a police statement before drawing conclusions, urging Belizeans to apply equal scrutiny to both sides as the investigation proceeds. Still ahead, when the Caribbean's brightest young minds come together, expect big ideas and bold moves. We'll show you how innovation and opportunity are colliding.
Every connection we make is more than just a signal. It's a student unlocking a future through digital education. A young mind daring to dream bigger. Every connection we make is more than just a signal. It's a student unlocking a future through digital education. A young mind daring to dream bigger. Our culture shared with the world in real time. and everyday heroes answering the call of civic duty. When we connect with Digi, we empower Belize.
Belize Electricity Limited is pleased to announce the holding of its 2025 Annual General Meeting at the BEL Corporate Headquarters at 2.5 miles Philip Golson Highway, Belize City, Belize, at 3:00 p.m. on Thursday, June 18, 2026. For registration purposes, shareholders are advised to bring along a valid identification such as a Social Security card. Shareholders who are unable to attend may choose, and we encourage you to exercise this right, to appoint your proxy, or you can simply appoint the company's executive chairman or the corporate secretary as your proxy to represent you at the AGM. Proxy forms can be submitted at the BEL corporate headquarters at 2.5 miles Philip Golson Highway or via email at shares@bel.com.bz no later than 5:00 p.m. on June 16, 2026. For more information or assistance, contact BEL's Securities Officer at 501-227-0954, extension 1512.
The biggest football event in the world is finally here, and Smart is giving you the chance to play and win. Before every match starts, predict who will win. The more predictions you make, the more chances you have to win. Get 1 point towards your total when you guess the winning team. Predict the exact score and earn up to 4 points. The top scorer at the conclusion of the World Cup wins the grand prize of $2,500 in cash. That's not all. Players get a chance to win weekly prizes. Plus, our quarter-final winner gets a watch party package. Play directly in the Smart app for just 50 cents per entry. Prediction starts June 1st to July 18, 2026. Don't just watch the World Cup. Play along and win with Smart. Smart, bringing people together.
This summer, the nation's top young athletes come together for Super Nationals 2026. From June 22nd to June 23rd, Primary School Super Nationals. And from June 29th to July 3rd, High School Super Nationals. 6 districts, 4 sports, 1 stage. Football, basketball, volleyball, kids athletics, and athletics. Belize's future champions competing for pride, glory, and the chance to be seen. This is more than a tournament. This is the future of Belizean sports. Super Nationals 2026, where champions ride.
There's a shift in tone and possibly in policy when it comes to Belize's relationship with Cuba's medical brigade. Just 2 weeks ago, Prime Minister John Briceño signaled that his government wanted to keep some form of that program alive. But today, the U.S. Chargé d'Affaires Catherine Beamer told a different story, revealing that Belize has agreed to wind down the arrangement altogether. That apparent disconnect is raising questions about what's really happening behind the scenes. We also pressed Beamer on Washington's stance after Belize recently sent humanitarian aid to Cuba.
Well, we are very supportive of the government's decision to wind down this program in Belize, and we are committed to encouraging all the countries throughout the region to adhere to international labor standards, and we're very interested in human dignity and that type of employment, those types of employment relations.
Has any conversations been had with the government about how we replace the support that those doctors perhaps have provided to the healthcare system here in Belize?
I'm not going to comment on specific conversations that I've had with the government, but I do know that there's a strong commitment to ensuring that healthcare in Belize remains robust and serves the Belizean people.
Can you also share the U.S. position on the humanitarian aid that Belize provided to Cuba last week?
I'm not going to comment on that today. I will refer you to the State Department. Secretary Rubio and President Trump have been taking the lead on this.
PM Briceño says the Ministry of Health is already recruiting nurses from the Philippines, El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua to replace departing Cuban medical staff. What happens when some of the Caribbean's brightest young entrepreneurs gather in one place? New ideas, new partnerships, and fresh opportunities begin to take shape. That's exactly what's unfolding in Belize this week, where the U.S. State Department is bringing together young leaders of the Americas Initiative alumni for a high-energy regional forum. Over 3 days, these emerging business minds are not just networking, they're sharing skills, building connections, and looking for ways to grow beyond borders. We dropped in on the event today to see how those conversations are already turning into action.
This week, we're hosting young entrepreneurs from across the Caribbean here in Belize. This is part of the Young Leaders of the Americas initiative, which has existed for many years. And so what we're doing today and yesterday is bringing together alumni of this program from across the Caribbean to get together and continue to build their network and grow their businesses and acumen. They're here to share experiences and see kind of what they learned in the United States during their exchange program.
A lot have to do with getting that mentor. A lot of us, entrepreneurs feel like it's a lonely journey sometimes. But with the Wildlife program, you get to be paired with a mentor. And my mentor was phenomenal. She taught me a lot on how to create structures for my business, finally on how to make it more of a sustainable venture, but moreover something where I can find balance.
One of the things that makes us different from the regular day-to-day person is that when we see a problem, we don't think about the problem. We think about how do we solve it, and we look for different ways on solving it. And one of the things that Wildlife really taught us is in the tagline, "Don't wait for change, create it."
Wiley is a U.S. State Department program that equips up-and-coming entrepreneurs across the Western Hemisphere with the tools, skills, and support they need to grow their businesses and make an impact. Before we leave you, here's tonight's viewer's voice on our first story. Flash floods turns roads to rivers, sweeps bus off highway. Javon Elisha Rubio commented. The news is reporting up to 48 hours of continuous rain, and after just one night, we're already seeing roads and communities affected. Stay alert, stay prepared, and look out for one another. Things can change in the blink of an eye. That's really good advice. Turning to Attorney General says birth certificates can be printed on any paper. Diana Shaw shared. Not sure if this is a good idea. We need a standard look to prevent fraudulent documents. Why would we risk national ID documents being compromised? That's a good question. Thank you for engaging with us online. Your voices shape the national conversation. Keep those comments coming and we'll continue to feature them right here. And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available at greaterbelize.com, on our Facebook and on YouTube. I'm Jamie Rock. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, good night.